All right, looks like we are live, guys. Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. We are broadcasting to the world live from Phoenix, Arizona. So it's good to have you guys back in here. We're going to have a discussion about Abby and Libby's case out of Delphi and convicted child killer Richard Allen will be on the top of this agenda. His recent interviews were released, some of his confession phone calls between his wife, his mother. So some very interesting things. And we'll see where that puts us now. Does this information lead us in a different direction? Does this confirm anything that we've already been suspecting? Did it change your mind in any way at all? Yeah, I'm starting to think people people believe what they want to believe. And that could include you and I as well. What's up, Tony N? Melissa Wildcard, Melissa Balboa, Patty, Ralph, the blind pug. What's up? Charles, nope, didn't change my mind one bit. Good to see you, Mike Essery. Okay. So some of the things I want to talk about, Richard Allen during his interview says his depression didn't start getting really bad until 1 year before he committed these murders. So it's about 6.5 years after the murders he's being interviewed, right? They ask him, well, your depression was getting really bad after the murders. He said, no, it's been about 7 years since my depression started getting worse. Right? So 7 years would have been right around the time his brother-in-law passed away. Right around the time his daughter, while going to college away from him, tells him, hey, I'm getting married. So right around that time that I told you guys, those were probably his stressors. And usually stressors lead to precede these types of murders in the lives of the actual killers, the convicted killers. Divorce, bankruptcy, loss of a job, something, some kind of drastic change, life changes. Yep, exactly, Charles. So we can talk about that. He also mentioned that he hasn't crossed the bridge in years. So that, to me, that tells me he's crossed that bridge plenty of times. Ish, right? 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. Welcome in, Kate. Yeah, he brings up Peru quite a bit. Welcome in, Miracle. I don't know. In all these phone calls and interviews, I have never heard him talk about or worry about his daughter. Yeah, I feel like the only person that even brings up his daughter was Holman. He's like, you're going to put your wife and your daughter through this. Or what if this was your daughter? Yeah, he may have been dead inside. 2015, left Walmart for CVS. What do you guys make of the CVS in Peru being 0.3 miles away from the Klein home? Is that anything? Is that sleuth reaching? Sleuth, you're always reaching. Hasn't crossed the bridge in years, right? We knew that the bridge guy was very familiar with his bridge because he fucking flew across that thing. How do we know? Well, unless the bridge guy is on the bridge with Libby behind the camera, she showed that to us. She said, hey, look at the bridge over here, 205. There ain't nobody on the south side. Hey, take a look here at 207. Nobody's on the north side. Nobody's on the bridge with us, and nobody's even near us. Yet at 213, this guy is all the way across the bridge, almost to the south side. So you're telling me that in 6 minutes, he went from being nowhere to be seen to across the entire bridge. And I quote, I haven't crossed that bridge in years. Telling us that he has a lot of experience on the bridge and with the trails. Remember, he told us that he helped take down the corn crib. Now, the corn crib is just down here. Right back there on the north side, it would have been before they took it down. Now, they took it down before the murders. But he spends so much time on those trails that he actually helped the McCains take down the corn crib. And he called it a shack. Probably doesn't mean anything because that's what it was. It was a shack. But everybody's made such a big deal about the shack and this and that. We don't know if law enforcement was on to Richard Allen. Maybe they were on to him and didn't know it was Richard Allen. They could have been intercepting maybe some communications from somebody that they knew was Richard Allen or was the suspect, right? Or it could just be nothing. But the bottom line is the killer that we were looking for was somebody very familiar with this bridge. Because I don't know about you, the first time I'm on this bridge, I'm not going to run across it. This guy has his hands in his pockets. And for every step that Abby takes, you can count 3 from the bridge guy. And this is her trying to speed things up. At this point, she's already been on the bridge for 20 minutes. So I found it interesting that Richard Allen says, hey, I haven't crossed that bridge in years. Oh, so you've crossed it before. You're very familiar with what's on the south end, I'm assuming. Maybe that's why he took him down the hill. Charles says, I have a CVS that far away. I know every employee there. I think that's going to be the key. Probably reach out to one of the managers that was working there in 2016. Ask him if, do you know the clients? And do you know if Richard Allen was ever interacting with the Kleins there at CVS. It's a long shot, but you never know. Hey, Mustang. Kathy Allen will move on within a year. I don't know. I feel like the reason she didn't want Richard Allen to confess was to protect herself. She doesn't want people looking at her as somebody that married a child killer or possibly helped conceal the murder or was in denial, could have maybe helped a little bit better. Mustang says, I think he was at the down the hillside before they crossed and hid. You know what? That's very possible. I mean, we know the ground was disturbed. It could have been Libby. It's definitely not deer. This right here kind of looks like a deer print. But all of these other prints here, they're kind of spaced out like a human's, the distance a human would create between steps, right? Here's another one right here, right here, right here, and then a few more kind of leading in this direction. So either Libby was so quick, flew across the bridge, had time to inspect the south side, like, okay, I'm going to walk down here, make sure everything looks good. How do we get over here? Hey, Sensei, what's up? Yeah, possibly. All we can do is check. Hey, Julia, how you doing? Just tuned in. I'm sure they've combed through the Kleins as much as legally possible to date. I want to know more about the Marathon gas station and more about the Wabash River search. Yep, and they weren't going to talk about that during the trial because Keegan Klein was not the focal point. So, I mean, the ground is obviously disturbed. These are basically shoe size indentions right here. Separated. Same distance a human would take a step forward. So yeah, I mean, it's possible he was already across the bridge, maybe even down the private drive, looking up, like, oh, here comes some girls. But I don't think so. I think he was on the north end. I think he was waiting for Abby and Libby specifically. And I think crossing the creek was a last minute decision. But it's okay, right? He had his military boots. They keep the water out pretty good, according to him. Sensei, I think she was just in total denial. I try to think how we all would react if one day the police came and knocked on your door and said your partner was the prime suspect in a murder case. Well, if he was innocent, he wouldn't have lied to her. She would have known everything. And he wouldn't have looked so guilty. All right, let's watch a few of these videos. But before we do, I created a little video on the vehicle and the evidence that Tom showed on his video the other day. And it's also, you can find it in the video itself. So I don't know if he just took a screenshot and enlarged it. Okay, so I just outlined the 2016 Ford Focus hatchback. As you can see here, I just outlined it as closely as I could. It's a perfect match. Welcome in, Lorraine, Dakota. I think so too, Dakota. And I think it's possible that Keegan Kline did tell on him, but it wasn't collected legally. You know, it wasn't something that they were able to use in court. Kind of like a fruit of a poison tree situation. Julie says, I think the reason the Klines weren't mentioned in trial is likely for the same reason McCain's weren't mentioned, subpoenaed. I think the McCain's actually were subpoenaed. We went back and checked. They actually, I think it was Dan McCain. Was it Dan or David? One of them actually testified. Exactly. Wasn't any direct evidence. It would have been a mere distraction to the jury. And also, they had to kind of switch up their tactics, their strategy. They had the defense, they were adapting to what the defense was doing. The defense was trying to present the Odinism theory, which involved other actors. Nick was just trying to prove that Richard Allen was the bridge guy. You know, he wasn't trying to tell anything else. He's like, look, he took the girls down the hill. I don't know what happened after that, but the phone didn't move. He's the kidnapper, so we're charging him with murder. We know that. We can prove it. Now, did he meet somebody? Did he lure Abby and Libby there? We don't know. We might be able to find that out later on down the line, hopefully through Richard Allen. But if they start admitting, like, yeah, others might be involved, that's not going to help their case. That would help the defense's case. But we know that they thought others were involved because even during Richard Allen's interview, and I'm going to show you a couple clips from his interviews, that they in fact believe that others were involved. They mention it multiple times during his interrogation. Miracle Hearts. Okay, what's Rick's name? DWS. What's up? Was he financially under the pump leading up to the murders? Absolutely. He had college tuition for his daughter, who had just gone to Ball State about 8 months prior to that. September of 2016, his brother-in-law, his wife Kathy's brother, died in a motorcycle accident. He wasn't wearing a helmet. Died from complications of that. A little bit later, I think September 27th was when he passed away. So he has funeral costs. And then his daughter tells him, not only are you paying for my school tuition, but guess what? And this the September of 2016, just before his brother-in-law passed away, his daughter tells him, hey, I'm getting married. And we're getting married at the end of 2017. So guess what? You have a little less than a year to come up with all of that cash. And that could explain why he's talking about the stock market. Like, he won't shut up about the stock market and how he's lost all this money, how he's concerned about money. There's some truth in there. The devil's in the details. He's trying to tell us what happened. And sometimes most killers will tell you what happened if you listen. If you're paying attention, they're telling you. right? He's telling us that he observed the bridge guy images and that he is so smart that he came to the determination that they can't tell what kind of coat it is. It looks like a Carhartt jacket, in his opinion. So he's going to tell him that he was wearing a Carhartt jacket. The actual jacket that he was wearing is long gone. That thing's burned up in a fire pit somewhere or disposed of. But in his mind, it looks like a Carhartt jacket. And if he owns a Carhartt jacket, I would try to find out when he purchased it. Because it sounds like he's trying to be very strategic. I'll go purchase the Carhartt jacket. They'll say, hey, you look like the guy. And then I'll say, here, we'll test the jacket. If it was me, wouldn't this jacket be covered in blood? He's a little bit smarter than people are giving him credit for. Stubborn, too. But there's nothing about what I saw in those interviews that made me think, oh, wow, this is an innocent guy being railroaded. His body language, everything about what I was witnessing. The Marble Man. Kind of looks like the Marble Man. Yo, 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 what's up, Riot? Julie, exactly. Circumstantial, potential speculation is stronger angle for the defense than trying to prove more likely. So, yeah. And trust me, they're upset about that. You know, they're heartbroken over that. The investigative team believes that the Kleins are involved more than I ever will. I can't even come close. They're the ones that spent over a few $1 million trying to prove it. And it's just unfortunate that they couldn't make that happen. All right, there was a few video clips I wanted to show you guys. Let's see if I have them organized here. Richard Allen can't stop looking at Libby's foot. We can take a look at that. This is something that a member in my Discord pointed out to me. Shout out to Cheeks, I believe it was. Cheeks, if you're on replay, shout out to you. Hope you're having a good day. Okay, there's a crime scene photo on the tape, or excuse me, on the table. And I want you to watch Richard Allen when he's alone in the room. Watch how many times he looks at that. And look at the mouse on a wheel start to spin. There's a good look there. There's another good look. Now he's staring. Yeah, they did that on purpose, I'm sure of it. Oh, don't worry. He's going to look a couple more times. There you go. There's a good look. Some growling. What's up, Timmy? The Marlboro Man. He smokes Marlboros. What's going on, Miracle? Tub of good. Welcome in, Grunstruck. Goo, tub of goo. He can't stop looking at that photograph. It's almost like he's enjoying it. Love Bomb says, does anybody remember a YouTube channel, Abby's Pink Panties? No. I remember a YouTube channel called Pinky Promises, and I think that was created by wife Lilith. Yep, that's true. He almost looks like he's starting to cry right there. You guys see that? He almost started to cry. Watch. Look at his face right here. Watch how it changes. Right here. Look how red his face gets. And his lips twitching. Look, he's about to cry. And he shakes it off. Nope. He's all, nope, I'm not going to do it. Watch his quivering lip. Right here. Face gets red. Look at it. Flush. And the quivering lip. There it is. After looking at the crime scene photo. And then he shakes it off. Nope. What's up, Brad Lucas? The Panties channel was likely Godsey at the time, or whoever that guy was. I think Love Bomb's just getting it confused with a different channel, Brad.
All right, Rick, this is a warrant right now we have for to collect your DNA. Vito's going to do it. Okay.
Okay, now watch what happens when a normal person sees crime scene photos. Okay, watch what he does. Now remember, Richard Allen was staring at the crime scene photos, staring, and it looked like he almost started to cry. His face became red and his lip began to quiver. Now let's see the actions of a normal human being.
I have to read it to you. It's to law enforcement, reference DNA standard, vehicle swab. You're hereby authorized.
Watch what the DNA technician does when he sees the photo.
To take a DNA standard of Richard and Allen. Right. My vehicle swab, so basically I'll just swab the inside of your teeth. Okay. Compare that to any DNA that we
I don't think he's noticed it yet.
Okay. You are further ordered to the means necessary to seize Richard Allen and to take vehicle swab. You're being cooperative, so we don't have to worry about that. But if you weren't, we could get it any means necessary. To compare to evidence of the crime.
Did you guys see that?
You are furthermore.
Watch what he does with the crime scene photo.
Okay. You are further ordered to any means necessary to seize Richard Allen and to take vehicle swab. You're being cooperative, so we don't have to worry about that. But if you weren't, we could get it.
He doesn't even want to look at it. Look, he covers it, puts it at the bottom of the pile. He's like, I'm not looking at that shit.
Furthermore ordered to seize such property or any part thereof found half. Okay, so to seize. If you weren't, we could get it any means necessary to compare the evidence of the crime. Pretty comfortable about that, but if you aren't, we could get it any means necessary to compare the evidence of the crime. Pretty comfortable.
So he takes the crime scene photo and puts it at the bottom of the pile. He's like, I'm not sitting in this room looking at that. Richard Allen couldn't stop looking at it and almost started to cry, in my opinion. DWS. So a missing phone and a factory reset phone from that time, money in desperate need for a person. A jobless sloth is the other. So money could be a part motive. Yeah, I agree with that. So you have Richard Allen staring at a photograph of Libby's foot. He's staring at the crime scene. He can't stop looking at it. And then when he decides to stop looking at the photographs, he closes his eyes, looks away. His entire head becomes flush with blood. He becomes bright red, and his lip begins to quiver. And it even sounds like he's crying a little bit, and then coughs, shakes it off as if, you know what? I'm not going to do it. They're not going to break me. What's up, Deb? Good to see you, Deb. He can't stop looking, can he? How sick. Shelly, he cannot. Here, I'll play it again while I go through the comments. Love, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Do you have any screenshots or anything? You can send them to me at sleuthintuition@gmail.com if you want me to pull them up. I'm okay with looking at them as long as it's nothing too crazy. Yeah, look at him. He's staring right at it. Yep, that's exactly what's going on, Julia. He's being torn in 3 different directions. Look, he's about to cry right here. He's like, don't do it. Don't you cry. Brad says the channel still exists. Send me the link, will you, Brad? At sleuthintuition@gmail.com. We can take a look. I'd appreciate it if you guys could send that to me. Oh, sorry, guys. Hello. What's up, bad actors? Yeah, sorry about that, Shelly. My bad. Thanks, Slink. Thanks, Charles. Thanks, Timmy. See, now that's what good viewers do. They help you out when you're fucking up. I remember one time I did a live stream for almost 2 hours before somebody said, are we supposed to be hearing Sleuth? I was like, oh my God. So we're like an hour and 40 minutes. Nobody even could hear me talking. And it was pure brilliance coming out of my mouth. Right? Oh, I do now. That's why I always ask at the beginning of the stream. Can you guys hear me? You can hear me, right? Oh yeah, I was on fire. It was glorious. Cindy. It was perfect, I'm telling you. If only I had the evidence to show it to you, Cindy, I could prove it. But unfortunately, it wasn't recording, so you guys, nothing I could do. It was the best live stream ever, guys. It was so good, it probably would have made you guys feel inferior because of my great oratory. So it's probably a good thing you guys didn't hear it. But it got away. I let it go. What's up, Frank? Oh, yeah. I think he does cry. Right here. See? Look at that. He's crying. Are you guys watching this? For a split second, Richard Allen is crying. See that? And then he shakes it off like, nope. You can even hear him right there. Watch, you can hear him crying. You know when you start to cry, your nose kind of runs a little bit? He even had that going on. What's up, Red Sauce? Yes, I think it's better that you guys look at us as equals, you know. If you would have heard that brilliant speech, you would have been like, wow, he's one of the great minds of our times.
All right, Rick, this is the warrant right now we have for to collect your DNA to read those names with it. Okay. I have to read it to you. It's to law enforcement reference DNA.
I think you're right, Patty. Patty says he's replaying it in his mind. That's why he has his eyes closed. Sunday Soapbox, what's up? I read a long time ago, look at a man's ears, especially a piece of bare complected, that the blood supply and they will turn red when they're lying. Don't look at their eyes, look at their ears. Never heard that. I don't know. I think those tears were for his wife. Like, this is everything that I feared. It's all coming to fruition. You know, I did my best. Okay, let's see what else we got. Grismatically says, if he was crying, why hasn't he wiped his eyes? I wouldn't say he was full-fledged crying. He was trying to hide it. He was trying to keep it in. He was like right on the verge of just probably letting it all out. Because I mean, it wants to come out. You know, that kind of shit can cause cancer. That's why you could see the quivering lip. I don't know if you've ever been on the verge of crying and your lip starts to quiver. That's exactly what was going on with him. Good to see you, Grizz. Black, what are you talking about? Oh, you're saying because usually in white people is the only time you can notice somebody's becoming flush. Thank you, Brad. Let me pull up this email. I want to see what these guys are talking about. I really appreciate that, by the way. I like when we can kind of all work together here. I think it's helpful that way. So this is from Brad Lucas. Looks like a video. Well, this is weird. It's a short clip, so I want to watch it first. Holy shit, there is a YouTube channel called Abby's Pink Panties. And all of these videos are from 7 years ago. It says joined March 28th, 2018. 19 subscribers and 2 videos. All right, we'll react to the if there's any audio. So this appears to be the trail that leads to the crime scene. And how the hell would they know about Abby's underwear? How would they know that they were pink? This is fucking weird, guys. Okay, let's look at some of these comments. Oops. Wrong screen. So it looks like he's interacting with people here. Okay. Calvin the dog says, "What up, Eric? Why the new channel?" The name is Abby's Pink Panties 8369. 83? Maybe that's the year they were born. And then we all know what 69 is. Just wondering, seems you made a pretty penny selling subscription smut. Did you claim to the IRS? Don't fret, I did inform them. Oh, Calvin the dog. That's Robert Lindsay. Robert Lindsay, great. As always, I am impressed by your journalistic qualities. I'm not. Not at all. Vampire Vampire. I'm not quite sure what that is. Vampire Ninja is here. 1854. Why are you making money off the Delphi case? Are you ever going to Delphi? We're in Cali. Are you now? All right, let's check out the other video. This one is a little bit longer, 44 seconds, called River 8615. The hell does that mean? What's crazy is her Abby's pants and underwear were found in the river. Comments are turned off on this one. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that, you guys, if anything. Yeah, he wasn't bullying anybody, Danny. I think he was honestly upset. All right, let me see something here. Okay, for some reason I have two versions of this one. Okay, it's this one. Okay, this was also pointed out to me by a viewer, and right now it's kind of slipping my mind who it was, so I apologize. But either way, shout out to you. So pay attention to what Holman says to Richard Allen about his wife and him not allowing her to participate in the search for Abby and Libby. He wouldn't allow it.
Still waiting because it sounds like your wife's talking and she's being honest. So, she basically said you can't believe you lied to her, so you're lying to us too. But so, is there a reason why you have this round in your little keepsake box? What kind of ammo did you have for your SIG?
I don't know.
Blazer?
I don't know.
I'm telling you.
At
At that time, you had wind.
Look, he's kind of asking like a question. He's like, at that time?
At that time, you had.
I don't know.
I'm telling you.
At
that time.
See, that's what a poker player would call like an indicator right there.
I don't know.
I'm telling you.
At
that time, you had Winchester.
Okay.
The round we found was Winchester. The ammo you had in your gun and for your gun at the time was Blazer. But this was a Winchester. It said right there, Winchester. Same exact type of round.
We've been through this.
I know. I'm just giving you an opportunity. Like I said, your wife's being
Please stop giving me
And
opportunity.
she says ever since 2017, She's saying that you didn't want to go. You wouldn't let her go on the search party. She wanted to help.
Did you hear that?
You wouldn't let her go on the search party. She wanted to help. Want to go. You wouldn't let her go on the search party. She wanted to help. You wouldn't let her go on the search party. She wanted to help.
Oh,
You wouldn't let her go on the search party. She wanted to help.
Okay, so Kathy gets home at 5:30. Rick's asleep on the couch, and she says, "Did you hear the news? Like there's 2 missing girls. I want to go out and help." He wouldn't let her.
oh.
And she's saying that.
I think I know my wife.
Well, I'm just telling you.
My
Want
wife
me to
is
bring
always
her
say
in?
some stupid shit
You
like
want me to
that.
bring her in and tell
What's up,
you?
Bear Jew?
I
She's
don't
telling
care
the
what
truth
you
about
did.
what happened. You didn't tell her, but you've lied to her for years, is how she feels right now.
Okay.
Because in your depression
Dracula in the house.
considerably worse since this incident, which is
This has been going on for 7, 8 years now.
but it's gotten worse since.
Well, it's gotten really bad.
I could see why.
Like, what does that mean? It's got really bad. Like he doesn't even know what to say anymore.
Bad.
Gotten considerably worse since this. What happened? You didn't tell her, but you've lied to her for years, is how she feels right now.
Okay.
Because and your depression has gotten considerably worse since this incident.
What's up, Dark Side?
This has been going on for 7, 8 years now.
But it's gotten worse since.
Well, it's gotten really bad.
I could see why.
Wonder if there's anything that happened 7, 8 years ago. Remember in 2010, he had a heart attack. He had a heart attack and he switched jobs. So if you guys are looking for any other crimes involving Richard Allen that may have still be unsolved, I would look at 2010. Somewhere around that area.
I killed two girls. I would get.
Oh my God.
I would have depression too.
Well,
I would have mental issues too.
I'm sure you would.
Living with this.
I'm sure you would.
And that's why you are. Here's what I think, Rick. I don't know. Only you know. But here's my theory. You're out there. Maybe somebody set this up. Maybe they didn't. Maybe you're out there. Maybe.
All right, did you guys hear that? More proof that the investigators believe others are involved. They're trying to tie him in with Kagan Klein, not trying to tie Kagan Klein in with him.
You're out there. Maybe somebody set this up. Maybe they didn't. Maybe you're out there. Maybe we know you're out there. That's not a theory. That's a fact. We know you had a gun. Girls saw the gun in there. We know you have anger issues. Your wife told us before that you have some anger issues and you have depression and you have, those types of issues. And maybe these girls said something to you. I don't know. Maybe you said go down the hill, which we know. The experts say you say go down the hill. You get down there and they piss you off for whatever reason. You racked the gun. You didn't realize you racked that gun just to scare them. And that round popped out. You didn't realize it. Because maybe you carry that gun with a round chambered, or do you not have it chambered?
When I carry it, I would have a round.
Miss Doglover, good to see you. According to Kathy Allen, she came home a little after 5:30 because that's when her shift ends, and he was asleep on the couch.
Chamber,
So you
but I
didn't
didn't
have to
carry it
scare
very
it
often.
Well, you were carrying it that day because girls said. So if you have one chambered, and what I'm saying is if I have a round chamber, which I do, and I rack this gun right now, a fully intact round will pop out. Correct?
I assume.
Well, that's what's happened. You didn't realize.
It's like that's what happened, fool. Here, I wanted to play this video for you guys the other day.
Indiana's news leader. Eyewitness News at 6 o'clock starts now.
And we're getting our first look.
So this guy, James Lucas, he was one of the original people of interest because he has kind of like a weird Facebook. If you go look it up, it's just like real smutty. All of his friends are like online prostitutes, and we're talking like, I don't know, 200-300 of them. He just looks very suspicious, looks like the bridge guy. And I think he was like around the area at the time of the crime. And he literally has no issue. Like if you look at his Facebook, it's disgusting. It looks suspicious. And this guy had no qualms whatsoever He's like, here, take my phone. So I just want to show you the difference between an innocent person who definitely has embarrassing things on his device, but knows that he's not a child killer, versus how Richard Allen is acting.
Tonight at the remote area where two 13-year-old girls were found murdered. This comes as tips are flooding into the police station for who could be behind the killings of Libby German and Abby Williams. Police are now questioning people about the case just hours after putting out an image of a man that they said they wanted to talk to.
This man was on the same trail around the same time as the 13-year-olds before they went missing. Police say he isn't a suspect, but someone they want to talk to. Hopefully get more information about what happened to Libby and Abby.
And police are moving fast on Libby.
Let me go to this comment by DWS. Does anybody know much about telltale signs of lying? Is Allen's over-explaining everything, going into long-winded roundabout answers that don't really give a direct answer, an indicator of deception? That's what I felt, but I'm not an expert. That's reminds me of when they were asking him about his car. Like, they just asked him, like, were you driving this car around that time? And he gives them this long-winded answer about how he had a red Ford Focus and then he crashed it. That his wife, they sometimes swap cars. You know, he gave this long roundabout explanation about the car instead of just saying yes or no. So yeah, that might be a great example there.
Leads. Eyewitness News reporter Rich Van Wyk spoke with one of the people questioned by police today, and he joins us now from near the crime scene. Rich?
Yep, nicely done.
John, at the crime scene today, we learned just how difficult it was for the killer and their victims to get to this remote area. It's steep.
Hey, Goat Dog, what's up? It says touching your face is a self-soothing tell when someone is upset. It's just one thing that I've learned as a poker player. I used to play poker all the time. Pretty good at it. And I would just look for that, you know, just to see if somebody was bluffing or they were being deceptive. One thing I would look for is the touching of the face or some type of oral fixation.
It's treacherous. It's difficult. We also learned more about why police want to talk specifically to
Thanks,
one
Charles.
man. One man who was in the same area as these girls, roughly about the time they disappeared.
Absolutely, Cindy.
The crime scene is serene and isolated. Hard to reach, hard to leave, making it almost hard to believe such a horrible crime occurred here.
It's just hard to comprehend as to what's happened.
Ron Logan has owned and roamed these woods for 50 years. Through the trees, he pointed to the now infamous Monon High Bridge.
At the end of the bridge there, where their last photographs were taken.
By Libby of her friend Abby. The Monday afternoon, they disappeared. They were about half a mile away from where searchers found their bodies. It's a half mile of steep hills, high bluffs, and deep ravines.
No, it's not an easy trip. And I'm quite amazed that anybody knows how to get here.
Investigators say they've identified almost everyone in the area when the girls disappeared.
Ron Logan says, I don't even know how anybody knew how to get here. Well, the one person that would know how to get there would be Richard Allen. He frequents there. He's parked at every part of that bridge. He's talked about the Wilson Bridge. He's talked about doing cleanups at other bridges nearby. He helped the McCains tear down the corn crib, what he called a shack. He said that he hadn't crossed, you know, that bridge in its entirety in over years, which tells me that he's done it quite a bit. He spent a lot of time at those trails. And Ron Logan's like, I can't make sense of it. Whoever brought those girls over here must have known about this area. Once again, the man who killed Abby and Libby was quick on the bridge and had intimate knowledge of that area. So if he was part of some kind of a setup, including the Kleins, I think it was his idea. It was his idea to use that as an ambush point, to use the bridge as a trap. He knew about the cemetery. He knew about being able to park down there. For all we know, they were trying to kidnap the girls through there. You know, maybe they were going to try to take them up to where they were parked back into the cemetery area, because all you have to do is walk out of the woods. You're in a vehicle and you're gone. There's nobody to see you. And then we have TK's former stepson. He said that TK would bring them to the High Bridge when they were kids to go fishing basically on the side on the crime scene side.
Except this man, photographed on the same bridge the girls visited. Since releasing the photo, they've received hundreds of tips.
Did he see somebody else that maybe some of the others didn't see? And so we just basically want to talk to him just to see what information he's got for us.
James Lucas says police also asked to speak with him.
It was scary. I never expected it.
So if you can
So that's James. Watch what he says about his phone.
Hundreds of searchers. Police asked him a few questions, checked his phone, then let him go.
They said if they needed me later, they would get a hold of me.
All while a community is coming to grips with the horror of what occurred here.
2 young kids playing, thinking they're having a wonderful day, Valentine's Day, and ends up in one of the largest tragedies in Carroll County history.
In your backyard?
In my backyard. Yeah, it's a big thought. Not a good one.
So James didn't have a problem with it. Here, maybe I can still find his Facebook too. He had every reason to be worried. Let's see. Maybe it'll be handy. Hey, Cindy, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Jerry, thank you for the Cash App. That's awesome of you. All right, let's look up James Lucas. I wonder if he still has it up. I don't know if it's this one. We'll have to find it another time, guys. I'm not exactly sure I can't remember where he was from. But yeah, his Facebook is ridiculous. Every one of his friends is a sex worker. Like, it's a disgusting Facebook. So for him to just hand over his phone, knowing that his Facebook is what it was, he didn't care. All he cared about was that he didn't have any involvement in this crime. They asked Richard Allen for his phone. He didn't want to. They had to serve a search warrant. What's up, Charlotte? Says he's simply just chatting. Wow, you never give up, huh? Liars go into vivid detail when they are telling the truth. Like, oh, this is my opportunity. So it's reversed, bad actors. That makes a lot of sense too. It's like, hey, this is my opportunity to kind of go into great detail about this. Like, hey, I know this one. Yeah, check this out. Like, hey, this, check out all these details about this. And then when he's trying to lie, he's just like giving very minimum information. Minimal. I think you might be right. That makes sense to me. But like I said, I don't know. I'm not an expert, but that makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah, see, it makes sense, huh? It's a good point, bad actors. Good point. Yeah. Go Dog says, in my opinion, Richard Allen seems to be trying to react like an innocent person would, but he's missing all of the real things that genuinely upset people would do, such as wipe away tears or blow your nose. It's a performance. It's not even a great performance. I feel like he's so smart that he thinks he's so smart that he didn't leave any evidence. Like, hey, I didn't leave any DNA, so it doesn't matter. Take my DNA. I know what I did at the crime scene. And I cleaned up everything that I did. Any area of the bodies that I touched, I cleaned it. If I left any semen, I took it with me. If I, he seems confident. He even makes a mention, and I'll show you in one of these clips, where he says, I didn't miss anybody. They're saying, oh, well, people saw him. And he says, well, I didn't miss anybody. There's no way I missed anybody. So that means that he was keeping track. Unlike Betsy Blair, who had to look back on those events, and she saw a young guy with curly hair. And even then, they didn't want to use that description because she wasn't taking notes, and she was just going about her day like it was just a normal, everyday thing. For Richard Allen, he's plotting and planning. So he has to take notes. His freedom depends on it. Thank you, Love Bomb. Let me check. Oh, thank you, Mandy. Let's see. So how many times Richard Allen looked at that picture of Libby's foot? It looked like when he was talking to his wife, something dropped out of his pocket and fell on the floor. It looked like a think box cutter, but could be wrong. He lived in Illinois and was a store manager in Bradley, so I think he might have traveled to other stores. I've always get a bad feeling when I see his face. Me too. But what are you talking about? Think box cutter. The fuck is that, Mandy? Thank you, A-Town. I appreciate you. And Jerry, once again, thank you so much for the Cash App. I appreciate that. Think box cutter. I don't know what that is. I've never heard that before. Oh, it's like a utility knife. Okay, so it's just basically a box cutter. Maybe with a hook on it. Shelly says, they questioned my neighbor at the police station and had him say, down the hill. He was a Hispanic guy. He had dyed his hair. Said he was hiding from Trump. He better. It's titled Valentine's Day. Damn, I'm far behind. I'm going to zip down here. Periwinkle, what's up? Welcome in. Thanks again, Jerry. Webs of Deceit Untangled. Sleuth, did you see the food jacket things I sent you from Google? I posted on last night's video comments. No, it's very important. If there's anything you need to send me, please send it to my email. It's hard for me to keep track of the comments. Like, they're just going so fast. If you have anything, because I've been looking. I think there's something going on with the food jacket. So if you have anything, I'm interested. I feel like that's a new information for us. Nicely done. I still think it's weird how Richard Allen knew the girls he passed by were sisters and babysitting. That's very accurate. Specific info I know for passing by strangers on a hiking trail. Yep. Very specific to the girls that were leaving as he was coming. Remember, they were leaving just before 1 o'clock. Or just after 1 o'clock. 1:26 is when they took that photo by that last bench. Bear Jew, if was smart, then he'd never uttered a word. Well, unfortunately, he's a killer. And these killers have compulsions that they cannot control. They go over things in their mind over and over and over and over and over. Like, oh shit, I need to go back to the crime scene. I might have left something, or I need to tip myself in. That way I don't look guilty. And then while I'm doing that, I'll try to ask questions. Maybe I'll get some information. I'll see what they know. Kind of like the ski mask incident, you know? I feel like a killer may have thought that they were making a good decision that would benefit their position. But really, it's just something, it's like a killer's mind. Same thing that caused them to kill is the same thing that's causing them to do all these weird things later. The mind of a killer. Yeah, that's right, Bear Jew. Any normal person would just shut up. Like, even if you're innocent, say, well, I don't talk to police. Sorry. Unless you're a family member of the victim, right? Then you need to do everything. You need to talk. You need to give the lie detector test. You need to do all of that stuff. You need to give over your computers, your phones. It's important that as a family member or a neighbor or a friend of a victim, that you clear your name quickly, because the more time that you waste, you're giving the actual killers an opportunity to escape and create distance for themselves. It's just the fact of it. You know, the investigators have to clear the family members because usually that's how it works, right? Crimes of passion, jealousy, whatever, some kind of something that caused anger or caused motive. And usually that happens with somebody that's close by or somebody that's coveting you, somebody that's been watching your actions, maybe obsessing over you. It's not necessarily a stranger type crime. But then again, it really depends on the criminology, not necessarily the typology, but the criminology, and not necessarily I guess the victimology would play into it, but I think the criminology of it may not. You know, this was out in a public area. It wasn't at somebody's home. So it really depends on the facts. Welcome in, Stephanie. Says Chris Watts didn't lawyer up either, right? He doesn't want anything to make him look guilty. Signed waivers and handed his phone over. Does that mean he's innocent? Nope. Just means that it wasn't an internet crime, you know? It's not like a stranger crime, right? If it was a stranger crime, you might find evidence on computers of stalking or reaching out or catfishing. When it comes to Chris, he knew for a fact, right? Like, this wasn't a stranger crime and I didn't need my phone to commit this crime. The victim lives with me. So it wouldn't be strange for me to be communicating with the victim. But in Richard Allen's case, it would. Goat Dog says, who remembers every single detail from 7 years ago? If you ask me about something I did 7 years ago, unless it was super important, I wouldn't remember what I did or was doing at the time. Yeah, and that's why I kind of compare Richard Allen's recollection of the events to Betsy Blair's, right? It's not clear to any of those witnesses. Even the girls were like confused about it that saw Richard Allen. You know, they gave different accounts of what the guy was wearing because they shouldn't remember. It's like right now, if I just asked you, like, do you remember what the guy was wearing that you saw this morning when you went and got the mail? Or what was the color of the vehicle that drove by yesterday? Or, you know, something just random. You're not going to remember it. But if you're planning a crime and you're trying to avoid witnesses, in your mind, you're going to take a detailed account. That way you can respond accordingly. And I think he did. He kept track of people who saw him, who might be able to identify him. And I think that played into why he came forward. But mostly he came forward because his wife knew he was out there. And if he told her not to go out on, you know, I don't want you to take part in the search. And then also, I'm not going to talk to police. You know, that might be a bit too much, even for his wife. Yep, partners, friends, family comes first. Because 90% of crimes are committed by family, friends, or neighbors. Not these types of crimes, but the majority of murders. Sleuthintuition@gmail.com, Mark. Welcome in, by the way. If you guys need to email me, sleuthintuition@gmail.com. Thank you. Number 48. What's that? Number 48. Hey, Sparky. Never have, never will. That's what I like. Don't be a scrub, guys. Oh, like. Yeah, thank you. Just hit the like button. It's right there. Hit the dislike button if you want. I don't care. I don't care if you're a big old crybaby. You got to look in the mirror. Not me. You got to live with yourself. Okay, let's get back to some of these clips here. Let's see. What else did I put together?
You can sit and take anybody and say, well, if they were wearing this and wearing that, that could be done. If that picture was taken from one of the girls' phones,
Here's the
it's not
problem
me
with that.
because I've never met
I
them.
know, but listen, here's the problem with that. You know why you can put a lot of people and say they're wearing blue jeans and a blue coat, but you know what the difference is? No, you said you were there.
Well, sure I
We
did.
have people that saw you.
Okay.
Ricky said you were out on the bridge yourself.
Charlotte, you hate me on here. It seems like you think I hate you and you're getting some kind of enjoyment out of it. Like you're some kind of rebel. You guys all accusing an innocent man. I'm so rebellious. I'm all alone over here in Sleuth's chat. Honestly, I don't even care, Charlotte. It's just kind of silly at this point. Like I'm saying, you got to deal with it, right? Nobody hates you. You're totally welcome here. We love you here, Charlotte. But it is a little bit funny, I will admit.
There aren't that many people that saw me. I mean, I'm sure I didn't miss that many people. If they walked behind me, I guess.
You said that you were out on the bridge, this bridge, yourself that day around the time when this happened.
No, I didn't.
You said you walked out onto the bridge. When we talked to you earlier, you said that you walked out to about the first platform or within that area down the bridge. That's what you told us. So we know that you were on the bridge.
Of course I was.
Okay?
And I told you that.
And with that, we can say that, is this person you? That's the question. Is that person you? That's the question we have to answer.
Sure.
Okay? So if that person is you, we know this person followed the girls all
What's
the
up,
way to
somewhere?
the other side of the bridge and then told them to go down the hill.
So, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like you're saying, don't.
Okay, so the bridge here, okay, this is the girls walking towards the other side of the bridge from where the trailhead is at.
The other side.
The other side of the bridge. And this person followed them all the way to the other side of the bridge where the,
Yeah. So
let's just, and told them to go down the hill.
okay, so let me stop here. I don't appreciate you trying to talk me into this.
No,
This is what I said. You're trying to change my words around.
See, he's acting guilty, guys. He's acting guilty. Mullins is not trying to trick him up. He's not doing anything. I don't even think he's sure Richard Allen is the guy yet. All he knows is shit. His vehicle matches. He matches the description. We overlooked him, and he's admitting that he was dressed like the bridge guy. So he's just going through the motions. He's trying to explain to Richard Allen why they're becoming suspicious of him. And he decides to help them along with that by overreacting. An innocent person, in my opinion, would not do this. He would just kind of look at it like it's kind of silly. Right?
I told you I was on the bridge. Now you just told me this is the trailhead side of the bridge. Over here on this. And you're saying I told you I walked on the bridge. You said you walked on that bridge that day. And that first trestle is somewhere back there. Okay. There's somewhere over there.
I'm gonna call you Charlotte the Rebel. The rebellious Charlotte.
Help me understand. Okay. You came out this far. We know I did. You came out that far. You came out that far. Is what you told us. I'm not going to tell you how. I can't tell by that how far out I was. Okay. I'm just telling you. You're saying that's me, and you're saying this is the far side of the bridge. I don't even go out that far anymore. I hadn't for years. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Did you hear that?
For years, but back then, I mean, you're saying this is the far side of the bridge. I don't even go out that far anymore. I hadn't for years. Far side of the bridge, I don't even go out that far anymore. I hadn't for years. Side of the bridge, I don't even go out that far anymore. I hadn't for years. That far anymore. I hadn't for years. I hadn't for years. I hadn't for years. I hadn't for years. Okay, for years. But back then, that was in 2017. Okay, and you.
What's up, Big Country? Sparky. Yeah, free shipping on merch. We have medium, large, extra large, XXL. We have black and gray hoodies, black and gray t-shirts. And I think we might have one more hat left, a black hat, like the Sleuth Crew one that I wear all the time. I would have to check. Yeah, it's good to see you, Big Country. So what do you guys make of that? I haven't gone across that bridge in years. So the man we're looking for is somebody who can cross that bridge quickly. Like in about 3 minutes. He can get from the north side to the south side. That's when you step onto the bridge and you just don't stop. And you're walking at a steady pace. Only somebody that has been on that bridge multiple times, more than multiple times, like dozens of times, somebody very comfortable with that bridge can fly across it that way. The only other person I've ever seen do that was Anthony Greeno. And it was after he had tried to do it multiple times. He fucking ran across that shit. That's basically what the bridge guy did. Hold on. Let me go to this comment here. Think box cutter. Where at, Mandy? Can you give me the timestamp? I'll pull that up if you want to. I just got your email, and I'm curious. You say it's when he's talking with Kathy, something falls out of his pocket. Is that right? Okay. Here's another quick clip.
Was out there on the bridge and wore the same clothing that you have on that day, but you didn't see them. You can't tell that's a black Carhartt coat, a blue Carhartt coat, a pullover. I told you I could have been wearing this. The two kinds of clothing you said you wore that day was either a black Carhartt coat or a blue Carhartt coat. Okay, you said blue jeans, right? Yeah. Okay, and I've had a jacket. Okay, so put yourself in my chair. I guess what I'm saying is I'm not going to tell you I wasn't wearing a black Carhartt that day. I told you I could have been. I don't know if that's a black Carhartt, and if it is, it's not mine. It's his.
Thank you, Charlotte. Nothing but love.
And you said you had a hat, you normally wear a skull cap, which covers... I said I carry one, so if I was wearing one, it would be like a skull cap or a smaller type of hat or something. Okay? So this is the situation we're at, okay? Basically this.
Mustang DJ Sleuth.
Either you were out there to do this to the girls, or you were out there to be able to introduce the girls to somebody else.
Okay, here's that whole Anthony Shot stuff again, guys. During every interview, they're like, we don't know if you were out there, just doing your own thing, or if you were there to introduce them to somebody. Why are you guys keep saying, I think that Richard Allen and Anthony Shots are connected? It ain't me, guys. It's the evidence that points to that. Even they think it. The only reason they can't bring it up in court is because they failed at proving it. But they know in their gut, they know with their intuition, they know at the core of it all, Richard Allen is connected with that Anthony Shots account. He was in Peru that morning. He worked he worked walking distance from the Klein home. I mean, how much more clear does it need to be? It just sucks that they can't prove it, because that, to me, that means that there's unfinished business here.
Okay. Good luck finding anything that points in that direction. I mean, it's not me. You're not going to make me believe it's me. You're not going to find anything that ties me to those murders. So I'm not really that concerned. You went from trying to, I don't know what.
So right here is a good example of how a guilty person would react.
I want to say, get my trust and then slowly lure me into telling you I killed somebody, and I'm not going to do it.
Mullins is simply telling him, like, look, man, we know that you were there. We know that you were on the bridge right around the time that this guy's on the bridge. You told us yourself that you were dressed like this guy. Similarly, right? We're just trying to figure it out. What kind of an officer would I be if I didn't ask you these questions, Rick? Like, it doesn't make sense. We're struggling to find answers with this case. And now we have you, somebody who tipped in early on, admitted to being there, dressed like the killer. You're familiar with the area. You told us you were on the bridge. Okay? I'm just asking you to clarify all of this. And this is him overreacting to that.
I don't know where this changed course. I'm not trying to give you a hard time, really not. I just want you to put yourself in the situation where we as police officers are looking at all the evidence that we have and what you've told us right now, okay? Okay, not trying to give you a hard time, just want to make sure that we get everything taken care of here. That's why we wanted to look at the things that we wanted to look at. And that's not going to happen now. I mean, like I said, we're done here. So arrest me.
Right? He can't take it anymore. He's like, it's almost like he wants to be arrested. He's like, damn, it's obvious that you guys caught me. It's obviously that you're looking at me now. So either arrest me or leave me alone.
Or take me home. I understand. So arrest me or take me home. I'm done. This is stupid. Okay. So that day, that's your phone. So on that day, you went out there on the bridge, and that you were wearing the same clothing, basically the same clothing that this person here is wearing. That's what you think. I don't know how you can tell that that's a black Carhartt coat, which is what I told you, a black or blue Carhartt coat.
See, he's saying, I don't know how you can tell the difference. The reason he's saying that is because he couldn't tell the difference. And that's why he told him he was wearing the Carhartt. He's like, if somebody's describing me out there, that looks like a Carhartt jacket to me. But he's the one that knows that it's not a Carhartt jacket. It just looks very similar. So he's kind of exposing his shortcomings when it comes to creating his narrative. He's like, well, to me, that looks like it could be a Carhartt, black or blue, But at the same time, he kind of fucked up. But he probably has a Carhartt jacket in his closet. And what he wants them to do is grab that Carhartt jacket, test it for DNA, and see that there's nothing on it. Knowing damn well that the jacket that he was wearing on that bridge was most likely not a Carhartt jacket, just looked very similar. And that jacket's long gone.
Never mind. This is ridiculous. You're trying to tell me that I gave you a description of this and I didn't. I mean, we all looked at this thing for months and years, and to me, that doesn't even look like a Carhartt coat. We can't
See, to me, that doesn't even look like a Carhartt coat.
say it's not, can you? I mean, neither one of us can. Okay. You're right. Can't say it's not. I mean, we can't say that it's not a Carhartt coat. We can't say that that hat isn't similar to the one that you had at one point. So, okay. With all those things in view, you've lost my trust. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. This is stupid. Now you've pissed me off. Well, I'm sorry.
More overreacting, in my opinion.
Okay. Are you arresting me? Well, I really want to try to get this thing worked out. Okay. I want to try to get this thing worked out. Am I free to leave or not? You've always been free to leave. Thank you. You're an asshole.
I thought Mullins was being very respectful, very nice, cordial. That was a classic overreaction. Miracle Hearts, good to see you. Who says agree? It's a good question. I don't think so. Nicely done. One of her friends did. It wasn't any of the girls that was on the trails, though. Let's go back and see if we can find what you guys are talking about. That he dropped something when he's talking to Kathy. Is that right?
And I'm like, of course you were out there.
If they see me out there, they see me out there, dear. And I
But
told
were you
them,
on the bridge?
I told them I was on the bridge. I went out to the first trestle.
Oh, okay.
That first thing that,
She's like, oh, okay. What? She's like, okay. You probably are the killer.
Remember you telling me that? I told you, so I told you you weren't on it.
So she wanted to go to the search. He told her he wasn't even on the bridge. So no wonder why she was able to be in denial for so long. He literally went to law enforcement. They didn't piece it together. Because actually they were already onto the Anthony Shots angle of it all. Like early on.
But I didn't.
it doesn't, hon, you're not in any trouble. You didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Huh?
I didn't know you were on it. I'm sorry.
Well, don't worry about it.
You told
Hon,
me you were.
She said, you told me you weren't.
Yes, you do.
there is no way that evidence is gonna show that I did
Right
this.
fucking here, Rick.
You got one piece of evidence
I got
that I can't
multiple
explain.
pieces. Multiple. I'm not showing you my whole fucking hand here.
I don't care. I'm
You
telling
should
you, I'm
care.
done
And
talking.
now you're gonna drag your fucking wife and your daughter through this because you're too fucking bullheaded to get out in front of this and admit that you made a mistake. And whatever the fuck happened out there, we'll never fucking know because you're too big of a fucking bullheaded. Go ahead.
So tell you I did something
Tell me
that
the
I
truth.
didn't do.
The truth, Rick. I don't want to
I've
know.
told you the truth and you don't want to hear it.
The evidence tells me otherwise. The evidence clearly indicates you're involved in this.
No,
I
it
saw this.
doesn't.
It fucking does.
It doesn't. I'm telling you that there is no way that a bullet from my gun was used in these murders.
And I'm telling you that we had this fucking round on February the
understand.
14th, 2017. It's been secured in the fucking laboratory. And we've tested other guns. I
understand
I'm
what you're
telling her.
saying.
I want her to hear this,
I
Rick.
understand what you're saying. What I'm telling you is I can't explain something I don't understand.
Oh, the scientists
That's not
explained it
possible.
for you. The lab analysis.
What's up, Big Bird? Good to see you. I don't know. She said he had anger problems. You know, she was telling the cops all kinds of crazy stuff. that around the time of the murders, he started, his depression got worse. That's information that was coming from her.
Analysts have explained that for you. They're saying that this round, without a doubt.
Hey, what's up, Richard? Said he was there, said he dressed like the picture, has a 40 cal pistol he carries, his car was seen on camera. He can say whatever else, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that really puts it into perspective right there, Richard. Dressed like the picture, has a 40 caliber pistol that he carries. His car was seen on camera. It doesn't really matter.
Came from your gun.
Then
And
you
told me
taken it from somewhere else then. Because it's not possible.
I did not take it from somewhere else. It was loaded in. It was taken as a photograph. You think we fucking went and stole the fucking round and threw it down by a fucking dead girl's foot? This ain't fucking TV. This is realistic.
I understand.
We collected that fucking item on February the 14th. We didn't take it from anywhere else but that fucking scene. And we didn't take your gun from anywhere else. We took it from your fucking house.
I'm telling you, I can't explain something.
And I'm telling you, the fucking analysts explain it. You can't get past this.
Can you please let my wife out?
Absolutely. Come on, Kathy.
I love you, baby. Can I kiss her?
Yeah, kiss her. Do the right thing, Kathy.
Okay, so I don't know. I didn't see him drop anything.
Tell him to do the right thing.
She knows I will.
Yeah, do the right thing. You're going to put your family through this for no reason.
So if you guys can send me the timestamp. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Let's see. What else did I have? The keepsake box. I was trying to figure out what these items were. This one kind of looked like a holster, but I'm not sure. This is definitely somebody wearing a blue latex glove holding a bullet right here. Apparently it says Winchester. And then here's an actual close-up of the box next to it. So I don't know what this item is right here. It might be like a bunch of items. Yeah, she'll see that. She'll see that before too long, Big Bird. And also remember the early description, Dark Side. They said somebody that was wearing a small hat with a short bill. And he admits in that interview that he was wearing some kind of small hat. He's like, it was either a skull cap or a small hat. Okay, well, the suspect they're looking for was wearing a small hat. What? Did she call him a pussy? Oh, did he call him a pussy? Yeah, he did. Holman did. He says, you're too much of a pussy to admit it. And he's right. Yeah, he's a creep. You can tell how creepy he is. Yeah, for Richard anyway, right, Darkside? Mistress of Wine, what's up? He got so defensive like when my husband asked me if I really drank the whole bottle of wine in one night. Oh, that's funny. I don't think I've ever left anything in a bottle of wine. Drink it straight out the bottle. So I don't know what any of this shit is. It's kind of too blurry. Maybe you zoom away. Yeah, Big Bird. So basically called him and said, "Hello, I'm Bridge Guy. See you in 5 years." And remember early on some of the family members were like, the Bridge Guy was cleared. You know, it's almost as if they knew who Richard Allen was and the fact that he had been cleared or that somebody had written cleared. What were they lying to her about, J. Ray? That he was on the bridge? Sounds like he was the one lying to her about that. She literally said, "You told me you weren't." And I quote, Kathy saying to Richard Allen, "You told me you weren't." If that doesn't make him look guilty, there's nothing else that's going to make him look guilty to certain people. The man lied to his wife for no reason. There's no reason for him to lie to her about being on that bridge, unless he had something to hide, in my opinion. So don't forget the ammunition that he had at with his pistol was not like the ammunition found at the crime scene, but in his keepsake box was one round, probably the round that he put into the chamber after he spit that one out. So he gets home, he realizes that he just committed a double murder. What do I do? What do I do? He starts getting rid of all the evidence, and he thinks to himself, well, I'm going to keep this bullet. He's going to use it as a trophy. He's like, I'm going to put this right here so I can remember this day. And in his mind, he's thinking, well, I didn't shoot the gun. I didn't shoot the gun. Goddess, he's a piece of shit for doing that in front of Kathy. Who, Holman? I don't think so. It's all about trying to elicit a response. Bear Jew, and a bullet that was disregarded by the jurors. Yeah, they didn't even need the bullet. They didn't trust the bullet. It was everything else. And remember, when they were deliberating, the one thing that they asked for before they came back with a guilty verdict, they wanted to watch the interviews in his jailhouse, all the stuff he was doing while he was in prison. You know, they matched the voice like we have recently. The voice is a match. There's no way you can deny that. Does that mean it's absolutely him? No. But have you heard anything as close to that? No. It's the closest match we've ever heard. Same with the description of the bridge guy. Have you ever seen anybody match more close to that killer than Richard Allen? No. In my opinion. So, guys, I think that might be everything that I had for you. So we'll catch up on the chat and get out of here. Here's a photograph from late 2016, about a month before Richard Allen committed those brutal murders. So I think in this photograph, he's actually wearing his Carhartt jacket. And honestly, I don't believe that that's the coat that he wore during the murders. Yeah, can I kiss her? Like, do I have your permission? Like, for me, it would be like, try to stop me, try to stop me from kissing my wife. For Richard Allen and his guilty conscience, it's, can I? What's going on, Charles? Thank you for the email, Stephen. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we might talk about this tomorrow or later tonight. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. It takes the whole crew to try to make sense of this all. So thank you, Stephen. Thank you for that email. Yeah, that's a good fucking point. That's crazy too, because I remember this guy. Roger Keith Coleman. Thank you for that. This is going to be pretty much us winding down. We'll give it a 2-minute warning. That the bridge guy was cleared. They kept saying, the family kept saying, well, there were reports from the public. I don't know if anybody in the family, I heard rumors that the families also mirrored that statement. But I don't know. I just know that in the public view, there were people going around saying that the bridge guy had been cleared. I know that Richard Allen's friend, Dan Howard, had come out on Facebook to say that. There were rumors that Anna had also made that comment. Come to find out, in a way, it was true, right? The bridge guy was cleared. And when you have an investigative team that's not helping the public make sense of anything, now we know it's because they can't make sense of it. They weren't able to make any sense of anything. They were only able to prove that Richard Allen's the bridge guy, meaning that he's guilty of kidnapping that led to murder, which in turn means that he himself is a murderer. Yeah, don't quote me on that, Big Bird. I'm just kind of repeating rumors and things like that. But I know for a fact that Dan Howard did come out and say that he was cleared. And he's friends with Richard Allen. What's up, Moonbeam and Rainbows? Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Thanks again for hanging out. Big shout out to Cindy Lean, everybody who was sending me emails today to help move the stream along. I appreciate it. It takes a village. We're the sleuth crew here. We're an entire crew. It's not just me. I just happen to be the master of ceremonies, right? I'm the guy holding the microphone and creating the platform, but we're all in this together. All right, Inquisitive. And again, thank you guys for the donations. We are crowdfunded 100%. So we do depend on your donations. So if you could consider becoming a member, donating to the Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, whatever, possibly purchasing some Sleuth Crew merch through the website, sleuthintuition.com, or simply sharing the video and hitting the like button. That's a pretty easy way to support the channel. But all of you who continue to support my channel, like Cindy Lean and all the rest of you guys, all you hardcore members, honestly, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your support. And I love being here. I love running this channel. I love all you guys. I love the participation. I love putting our heads together and actually coming up with something that makes sense not just some random hybristophilia bullshit. You know, we're really searching for answers here. And I don't think anybody's closer than we are at this point in time, regardless of what they might say or think. So big shout out to you guys for your participation. And I'll see you again real soon. Take care.